My dear friend, listen closely tonight, because what you're about to hear isn't something ordinary. This message reached you for a reason. Out of all the people scrolling past everything right now, somehow you stopped here. That wasn't random, and by the time this ends, you're going to understand exactly why someone in your life has been acting distant, confused, quiet, yet somehow unable to fully walk away from you. Don't skip ahead. Stay with me to the end, because something significant is waiting for you here. There's someone, a very specific someone, who loves you far more deeply than you currently realize. They think about you when the world goes quiet around them. They replay your words in their head long after you've said them. They look for signs from you without even admitting that's what they're doing. And yet, there's one thing holding them back. One thing they're struggling to come to terms with. And it's connected to how you look. But before your heart jumps to fear, before your mind starts building painful stories, hear me out completely, because the truth here goes much deeper than what you're probably imagining. This isn't about being perfect. It's not about beauty standards. It's not about anything the world ever told you that you should look like. This is about something far more emotional, something buried underneath the surface. And here's the part that might shock you. The very thing they struggle with is actually the exact thing making them fall for you harder every single day. Yes, you read that right. Don't look away now, because what comes next might genuinely change how you see yourself. This person notices things that nobody else picks up on. While other people see your smile, they see the sadness hiding right behind it. While other people hear you laugh, they hear the exhaustion underneath it. While other people glance at you for a second and move on with their day, this person studies every little detail like it's something sacred. And honestly, that scares them, because loving you feels risky to their heart. You have this presence that exposes people emotionally. Being around you makes people face truths they've spent a long time avoiding. And the thing they're struggling with isn't really about your physical appearance at all. It's about what that appearance reveals about you. Maybe it's the tiredness sitting in your eyes. Maybe it's the way you mask your pain behind confidence. Maybe it's that quiet insecurity you think nobody else can see. But they saw it. They saw all of it, and it shook them, because they weren't expecting someone like you to walk into their life. They were ready for temporary connections, surface-level small talk, easy emotions, predictable people. And then you showed up, and suddenly nothing felt simple anymore. Stay with me, because something big is on its way. There are nights when this person looks at pictures of you for longer than they probably should. Not because they're judging anything about you, but because they're trying to make sense of why your face stirs up emotions they can't quite explain. Part of them wants to move closer to you. Another part wants to protect themselves, because what you carry is honest, real, vulnerable. And real things genuinely scare people who've spent their whole lives hiding behind masks. Listen closely now, because this next part matters a lot. What they struggle with isn't that you're imperfect, it's that you're real. Do you understand how rare that actually is? In a world full of filters, performances, fake confidence, and fake smiles, what you show the world is authentic, and authenticity forces people to look at themselves honestly. That's why this connection feels so intense. That's why they get close and then suddenly pull back. That's why their energy shifts without any clear reason, because every time they look at you, they feel something they can't fully control. And here's what happens next. Very soon, this person is going to stop fighting these feelings. Yes, you heard that right. The walls they've built around themselves are starting to crack, slowly, quietly, emotionally. But before that moment fully arrives, something unexpected is going to happen between you two. A conversation, a look, a pause, something so small from the outside, but so powerful internally that everything shifts afterward. And when that happens, you'll finally understand why they've acted the way they have all this time. Because they were afraid. Afraid that loving you would expose their own insecurities. Afraid your honesty would reveal their own emotional scars. Afraid that someone as genuine as you could see straight through them. Stay with me, because you're getting closer to the truth now. This person remembers tiny details about you that even you've forgotten. The way your expression shifts when you're holding back tears. The way your eyes avoid contact when something hurts. The way your face softens when someone finally understands you. These little moments replay in their mind constantly, and they hate how powerless that makes them feel because they wanted to stay in control. But love doesn't wait for permission before entering someone's heart. It shows up quietly, suddenly, almost dangerously, and now they're caught between resisting you and needing you. But here's the part nobody expected. The very thing they struggle to accept about your appearance is tied to a wound from their own past. You remind them of feelings they buried a long time ago, not because you did anything wrong, but because being around you wakes up emotions they thought were long gone. That's why they sometimes stare. That's why they go quiet sometimes. That's why they seem emotionally overwhelmed around you. It's not rejection, it's emotional fear, mixed with love they can't deny. And the moment they finally accept that truth, everything shifts. Their silence changes, their energy changes, their actions change. Because deep down, they already know there's no one else who could ever replace you. Nobody else carries your energy. Nobody else makes them feel seen the way you do. Nobody else reaches them on that level. And even though they're struggling right now, their heart has already made its choice. Stay with me, because something even bigger is coming. There's a reason you clicked on this tonight, a reason your spirit needed to hear this. You've spent too much time questioning your worth because of how you look. Too much time believing love only happens for people who look perfect. But real love doesn't start with perfection. It starts with recognition, and this person recognizes something in you that's rare, unforgettable, impossible to ignore. That's why they keep coming back emotionally, even when they try to physically pull away, because your presence stays with them, even in the silence, even in the distance, even in their own denial. And tonight, whether you realize it yet or not, something has already started shifting. The connection between you is changing. Their resistance is wearing thin. Their emotions are getting stronger. And soon, they're going to have to decide, keep hiding from this, or finally admit the truth they've been fighting this whole time. That they love you completely, not despite the thing about your appearance they've struggled with, but because of it. And when that realization fully settles in, it will become impossible for them to look away from you again. There's something they've never said out loud, something they hide every time they look at you a little too long. And tonight, you're going to understand exactly why. Don't skip ahead, because something significant is coming. Around everyone else, this person seems calm, controlled, completely fine. But when it comes to you, their emotions lose that balance. Their thoughts get louder, their heart gets restless. And the strangest part? It all comes back to one thing about your appearance that they can't stop thinking about. Not because it pushes them away, but because it pulls them in too deep. This connection is more intense than you probably realize. Every single time they see you, something inside them shifts. They notice things nobody else notices. The softness in your expression when you're pretending everything's fine, the loneliness hiding behind your confidence, the silent emotions your face shows without you saying a word. And it scares them because they know this isn't ordinary attraction. This is emotional recognition. There are moments when this person tries to convince themselves they can move on. They keep busy, they distract themselves, they force themselves into conversations with other people. But somehow, every path leads back to you. Why? Because what you carry, your presence, holds a feeling they can't find anywhere else. Not perfection, not fantasy. Reality. You feel real to them, and real connection is rare. Do you know what scares people the most? It's not rejection. It's not distance, it's not even silence. It's finding someone who actually reaches their soul. That's exactly what happened when they met you. Your presence touched parts of them they thought no one would ever understand, and now they can't escape that feeling. This person remembers the first moment they truly noticed you. You might think it was just an ordinary moment, nothing special. But for them, everything changed in that instant, because in that small moment, they saw something in you that felt painfully familiar. A sadness, a gentleness, a quiet kind of strength. And just like that, without warning, their heart became attached to you. That's why they watch you the way they do. That's why their eyes sometimes hesitate. That's why their energy shifts when you're around, even if they can't explain it. because your presence woke up emotions they'd buried years ago. Listen carefully now, because this part matters more than you might think. The thing they struggle to accept is tied directly to how much they already care about you. If they didn't love you, none of this would affect them the way it does. But it does, every single day, and they're working hard to hide it. Sometimes they pull away because what they feel toward you is too emotional for them to handle. Not beauty in some shallow sense, but emotional beauty, the kind that can't really be put into words, the kind that lingers in someone's mind late at night, the kind that returns in quiet moments, the kind that changes a person permanently. Stay with me, because what comes next will surprise you. Very soon, this person is going to reveal emotions they've kept hidden for a long time. It might not happen directly at first. It could come through a small gesture, a message, a look, a moment of honesty they didn't plan to share. But when it happens, you'll finally realize something unexpected. They were never judging how you look. They were fighting their own feelings the entire time. They were trying to protect themselves from becoming emotionally vulnerable, because deep down they already know you're different from anyone else they've met, and once someone realizes there's no going back from that, everything changes. This person secretly worries that you don't see your own worth. They notice how hard you are on yourself. They notice the insecurities hiding behind your smile. They notice when you avoid attention because you're afraid of being misunderstood. And every time they notice these things, their feelings only grow stronger, because your imperfections make you human, and your humanity makes you unforgettable. Late at night, when everything goes quiet, this person keeps coming back to one question over and over: what if I lose them? That question haunts them more than they'd ever admit, because despite the confusion, despite the fear, despite all their emotional resistance, their heart already chose you, and they know it. That's why your appearance affects them so deeply. Not because there's anything wrong with it, but because it carries an emotional honesty they can't ignore. You remind them that love isn't about looking flawless. It's about feeling understood. And you make them feel understood in a way nobody else ever has. Something significant is coming, because the distance between you isn't permanent, the silence isn't permanent, the confusion isn't permanent. A turning point is on its way, and when it arrives, this person will stop pretending they're unaffected by you. They'll stop hiding behind their emotional walls. They'll stop running from this connection, because some people come into your life for a season, but others leave a permanent mark on your soul. And whether they admit it now or later, you've already become unforgettable to them. That's a truth they can no longer escape. There are nights when this person sits alone, replaying memories of you that might seem small to anyone else, but mean everything to them. The way you looked at them when you thought they weren't paying attention. The way your expression softened during a vulnerable moment. The way your silence sometimes said more than words ever could. Those moments live inside them now. And no matter how hard they try to focus on other things, your presence keeps coming back. Because what you bring touches something deeper than attraction. It touches truth. This person has spent a long time pretending to be emotionally strong, pretending they don't get attached easily, pretending they can walk away from feelings whenever they choose. But you broke that illusion without even trying. And now they're realizing something that genuinely scares them. They're no longer in control of their emotions when it comes to you. Your presence became linked in their mind with comfort, safety, understanding, peace. And once someone connects your presence with that kind of peace, forgetting you becomes nearly impossible. That's why they keep watching from a distance. That's why they go quiet after emotional moments. That's why they sometimes disappear, only to come back emotionally later. They're fighting feelings that have become too strong to ignore. There comes a point in every deep emotional connection where hiding the truth becomes more painful than just saying it. And this person is getting dangerously close to that point. For a long time, they believed they could quietly manage these feelings. They thought distance would weaken the attachment. They thought staying silent would calm things down. They thought enough time would make your presence fade from their thoughts. But the opposite happened. The more they tried to pull away, the more emotionally connected to you they became. And now they're reaching a breaking point they can't avoid much longer. Listen carefully, because this part explains a lot. This person feels emotionally exposed around you in a way they've never experienced before. Even when you're not talking, they feel seen. Even when you're quiet, they feel understood. Even when you're simply nearby, something in them softens. And that softness terrifies them, because people who've spent years guarding their emotions don't always know how to react when someone makes them feel safe enough to let their guard down. That's why they sometimes seem awkward around you. That's why they avoid eye contact after emotional moments. That's why their energy swings between closeness and distance without warning. They're fighting feelings they never expected to feel this strongly. Stay with me, because something big is coming. There are moments when this person looks at you and feels this overwhelming urge to just tell you everything. Everything they've been hiding. Everything they've been suppressing. Everything they feel every time they see you. But fear stops them at the last second. Fear of rejection. Fear of being vulnerable. Fear of losing control over feelings they barely understand themselves. So instead, they stay quiet. But silence doesn't erase love. It just hides it for a while. This person notices when your energy shifts emotionally. They notice when you're quieter than usual. They notice when sadness hides behind your smile. They notice when your confidence feels more fragile than normal. And every time they pick up on these things, their feelings deepen, because what you show the world carries emotional honesty they can't ignore. You probably don't realize how comforting your natural self is to them. The way you express emotion without trying. The way your face shows sincerity. The way your eyes hold softness even after going through pain. Those things affect them far more than physical perfection ever could. And honestly, they're scared that nobody else will ever make them feel this way again. That thought follows them constantly. What if they lose you? What if fear ruins this connection? What if they wait too long to say something? Those questions keep circling in their mind late at night, when everything is quiet. Very soon, this person is going to stop pretending these feelings are just temporary. Something inside them is shifting quickly now. The emotional walls they've maintained for years are getting harder to hold up. The distance they tried to create no longer feels safe, and the silence that used to protect them is starting to hurt more than honesty would. That's why their behavior might already feel different lately. Maybe they're watching you more closely now. Maybe small things involving you trigger a stronger emotional reaction. Maybe their attention toward you feels heavier, more intense. None of that is coincidence. Those are signs that their heart is slowly giving in to what it already knows. And what it knows is simple. You're no longer just someone they like. You've become emotionally irreplaceable to them. This person secretly admires the very things about yourself that you criticize the most. The tiredness in your eyes that shows everything you've been through. The softness in your expression that reveals kindness, even after pain. The vulnerability hiding behind your confidence. Those are exactly the things making them fall deeper for you, because your appearance tells a story of strength, a story of emotion, a story of someone who kept going even when life got heavy. And that story reaches them in ways they can't fully explain. That's why they can't stop thinking about you. You feel emotionally real to them, and real is rare. There are moments when this person imagines what it would feel like to finally stop hiding these emotions. Moments where they picture being honest with you, opening up to you, telling you how much your presence has changed them. And every time they imagine that, something inside them feels calm. That calm scares them too, because it confirms what their heart already knows. You're not temporary to them. You're not someone they can simply replace or forget. You've become part of their emotional world now, and the more that sinks in, the harder it becomes for them to keep acting unaffected. This person has already started changing because of you. They think differently now. They feel differently now. They love differently now. You woke up an emotional depth in them they thought was gone for good. That's why this connection feels so intense. It's not just attraction, it's transformation. And transformation always feels overwhelming before it feels clear. But clarity is coming. A moment is approaching where this person finally realizes they can't protect themselves by hiding from love any longer, because love already found them, and it has your face attached to it. The moment they've feared for so long is approaching. The moment where pretending becomes impossible. The moment where silence stops protecting them. The moment their heart becomes louder than their fear. And when that moment comes, everything between you changes for good. This person has spent so much time trying to control feelings they never expected to have. They tried acting unaffected. They tried convincing themselves they could stay emotionally distant. They told themselves this connection would eventually fade. But now they understand something both terrifying and beautiful at the same time. Nothing about you faded inside them. Not your voice, not your energy, not how you look, not the emotions you stirred in them. And the more time passes, the harder it becomes for them to deny what they feel. And here's the truth that might shock you. The very thing they struggled with about your appearance became the exact reason they fell completely in love with you. Yes, completely. Because to them, your appearance never represented perfection. It represented truth, the softness in your eyes, the emotion hiding behind your smile, the vulnerability you try so hard to hide from the world. Those things reach them on a level that beauty alone never could. And now they're coming to terms with something they can't escape emotionally. You feel like home to them. There are nights when this person lies awake, replaying moments with you over and over, the way you looked at them during a quiet conversation, the way your expression changed when emotions got real, the way your presence calmed them even during emotional chaos. Those memories don't feel temporary to them anymore. They feel permanent. And that realization is breaking down every wall they've spent years building. Because once someone realizes another person genuinely touched their soul, life doesn't feel the same afterward. This person is starting to understand that their fear never actually protected them. Distance didn't erase their feelings. Silence didn't weaken the connection. Distraction didn't replace your presence in their mind. Nothing worked, because some connections are simply too real to escape. And now they're standing at a crossroads. Keep hiding from love, or finally surrender to it. Deep down, their heart has already made the decision. That's why their behavior is changing. That's why they look at you differently now. That's why their attention toward you feels more emotional lately. That's why their silence feels heavier than before. Because holding all of this in is becoming unbearable. This person secretly worries that you don't realize how important you've become to them. They worry you might mistake their distance for indifference. They worry you might think their silence means they don't care. They worry you might walk away before they find the courage to be honest. And that fear grows stronger every day, because the truth is, they're already imagining a future with you in it. Not fantasy, not some passing feeling. A real emotional future. One where they no longer hide what they feel. One where your presence becomes part of their everyday life. One where they finally let themselves love openly instead of out of fear. And once someone starts picturing you in their future, that connection has already become something serious in their heart. The reason this person struggled so much with your appearance was never about flaws. It was because what you carry held an emotional honesty strong enough to break through their defenses. The way you looked at them felt genuine. The way you smiled felt healing. The emotions you carried in your face made them trust you, even without fully understanding why. And trust scared them the most, because trusting someone means risking heartbreak. But now they're learning something important. Loving you feels safer than losing you. And that realization changes everything. It changes how they think about you. It changes how they respond to your energy. It changes how much longer they can keep pretending none of this is real. And very soon, the truth they've been holding back is going to surface naturally. Not because they planned it out perfectly, not because they suddenly stopped being afraid, but because their hearts simply can't carry this quietly anymore. The distance is shrinking. The confusion is fading. The connection is getting clearer and stronger every day. And whether they admit it tomorrow, weeks from now, or even later than that, one truth already exists inside them permanently. Meeting you changed their life. You brought back emotions they'd buried long ago. You reminded them what emotional safety feels like. You woke up vulnerability, tenderness, honesty, and depth inside them again. And now they can't imagine going back to emotional emptiness after experiencing this with you. That's why they keep coming back, no matter how hard they try to resist, because your presence became familiar to theirs. And some people only show up once in a lifetime, carrying that kind of impact. This was never about perfection. It was never about flawless beauty. It was never about becoming someone else to be worthy of love. It was always about recognition. Two people seeing each other honestly. Two hearts feeling understood without needing words. Two people quietly changing each other without even fully realizing it at first. And now that transformation is complete, this person already knows they love you. Not some version of you pretending to be perfect, but the real you, the emotional you, the vulnerable human you. That's the version they can't forget, the version they can't replace, the version their heart keeps choosing again and again, even in silence. Because some people enter your life gently but leave permanent fingerprints on your soul. And whether they say it today or later, their heart already belongs to you more than they ever planned.